So now we're going to look at another political cartoon. This is, well, first take a look at it. So if you see this cartoon here, again, this is on Schoology. You'll be able to look at it in more detail. If you want to pause, you may pause. I'm going to go ahead and exit out. Whoops. All right. So what do you see in this cartoon? What might the man near the top of the staircase be doing? Why might the man on the right be pulling on the coattails of another? So why is he pulling on the coattails? We've already read. This is all from Lesson 1 and Chapter 10. What did Northerners feel about the new tariff law of 1828? So in the reading, you should have read about the tariffs and what Northerners felt about it. I believe the lesson specifically mentions people from the northeastern part of the United States. So Northerners may have said, we support the new tariff law. Higher prices for imported factory goods means we can sell the products made in our own factories. So financially, money-wise, it would be good for Northerners. What did Southerners feel about the new tariff law of 1828? The new tariff law is unconstitutional. The tariffs hurt our cotton sales to other countries. We will secede if the government tries to enforce the law. So this will hurt Southerner business. They're going to lose money. Northerners would make money, Southerners would lose money. And they're threatening to leave the country, secede, if the government tries to force them to follow this law. So that law brought up the topic of nullification, whether or not a state can ignore a law that they don't like. And that would be nullification, ignoring a law they think, a state ignoring a federal law they think is unfair. The man at the top of the stairs is John C. Calhoun. You may remember him in the War of 1812. He was one of the war hawks. He later on became Jackson's vice president. Andrew Jackson is the man pulling on the coattails of a Calhoun supporter. So if you remember from the reading, Calhoun and Andrew Jackson had a dispute. They had arguments over the tariffs and the idea of nullification. So make sure you go back to the reading and look at the text of how they disagreed with one another. The word despotism is at the top of the cartoon. Despotism is a form of government in which the ruler is an absolute dictator. So someone who abuses their power, a tyrant, someone who rules unfairly. Are there any words on the stairs that are unfamiliar to you? So we're going to go ahead and go through this. We have nullification. Again, that's when a state chooses to ignore a federal law because they don't like it. They don't agree with it. SC ordinance. SC is South Carolina. Ordinance means law. So South Carolina ordinance. Treason, to betray your country. Civil war, when people in the same country fight each other. For example, if California went to war with Nevada or went to war with Texas, that would be a civil war because we're part of the same country. Deception, deceiving, lying, tricking people. Disunion, it's the opposite of union. Union, unity, bringing people together. Disunion would be separation. Let's see. What does the cartoonist imply that Calhoun wants? What does he want? Look at the picture. What do you think he wants? Would the cartoonist think that Jackson's response to the nullification crisis promoted democracy? Why or why not? So the way they drew Jackson and the way they drew this picture, does this person think that Jackson's supporting democracy or not? So why or why not? Something to think about. Do you agree with the cartoonist? So based on how Jackson handled nullification and the tariffs, do you think Jackson did that in a way that supported government by the people or not? That's opinions. What do you think? So, well, that's it for now. So I want you guys to think about this question because we're building this up. You guys can play this video again. You can look at all the images. All the images are on Schoology. But I want you to start coming up with your own opinion of what you think about Andrew Jackson. He's a very controversial figure. People loved him or hated him. People feel very strongly about Andrew Jackson. So I want you to start thinking about how you feel about it. That's why I'm not answering all these questions. I want you to think about, what do you think? Because historians disagree on whether he was a good president. Some historians think he was great. Other historians think he was awful. So I want you guys to kind of explore, based on these cartoons, based on what you read, what do you think of Andrew Jackson? In the next video, I'll go over some more pictures, but all of these pictures relate to Chapter 10, Lesson 1. So I wanted to make sure you guys read that first. Before I go on to other pictures, you guys will need to read Chapter 10, Lesson 2. And I will actually skip ahead so you know what we're going to be doing for Lesson 2. So for Lesson 2, we'll be looking at this picture. Alright, so that's pretty much it for now.